The aggressor country Russia is accumulating resources and increasing the number of drone attacks on Ukraine. Such actions by the Kremlin will gradually destroy the reputation of US President Donald Trump. This was stated by the advisor to the head of the president's office, Mykhailo Podolyak, in a comment to the RBK-Ukraine. He noted that Trump declared his readiness to participate in negotiations and proposed his strategy for a peaceful settlement, but such attempts are neutralized by the actions of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin because the head of the Kremlin is trying to continue the military escalation. Everything that Trump says, that he is ready to negotiate, that he has proposed something, that his strategy is absolutely effective. Putin nullifies all of this, Podolyak notes. According to him, such actions by Russia cannot remain unanswered. Podolyak is convinced that the United States will eventually be forced to change its strategy towards Russia. In particular, the United States can implement the concept of tough coercion towards the Russian Federation, which will include significant sanctions and an increase in Ukraine's military capabilities so that it can strike the Russian Federation even more powerfully. Sooner or later, you have to come to a concrete understanding that you are being humiliated time after time. Russia is doing this exclusively. Russia is doing this deliberately. Putin is absolutely sincere in his efforts to force Trump, while still dragging out time to play the Russian game, but at the same time zeroing out his reputation. Podolyak emphasized. The advisor to the head of the president's office believes that Trump's patience may snap in the coming months. The psychological deadline for the US may come in mid to late May. By that time, everyone will understand that Putin is humiliating Trump. It's a matter of months. That is, by mid to late May, it will already be clear that this is not working, he emphasized. Podolyak predicted that after this, the US will either change its strategy towards the Russian Federation or will be forced to fully adapt to the Russian game. But the second option does not correspond at all to Trump's psychotype. Podolyak, responding to Russia's new offensive, emphasized that Moscow does not seek any ceasefire with Ukraine. Almost everything the aggressor country has is being invested in the war. In particular, it is buying soldiers and sending them to fight. According to the advisor to the head of the president's office, people who earn between $2,500 to $10,000 from killings will not be able to return to their homes, as they will never receive such wages there again. It is in their interest to continue the war. Therefore, I do not doubt that Russia will use this accumulated resource. Again, what resource? It's clear that the level of militarization, like the one at the start of the invasion, with armored vehicles, aviation, and multiple launch rocket systems, is no longer available in such quantities. But they have enough manpower and appropriate tools. They have plenty of drones, he added.
A U.S.-Russian dual national imprisoned in Russia on treason charges was freed Thursday in exchange for a Russian man jailed on smuggling charges in the U.S., a prisoner swap that comes as Moscow and Washington have made efforts to repair ties. According to Associated Press, Ksenia Karelina, also identified in the media as Ksenia Kavana, is on a plane back home to the United States, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a post on social media platform X. Russia's Federal Security Service FSB released a video that featured Karelina boarding a plane in Russia. She was arrested in the Ural Mountain city of Ekaterinburg in February 2024 and convicted of treason on charges stemming from a donation of about $52 to a charity aiding Ukraine. American authorities have called the case absolutely ludicrous. Russia's Federal Security Service, the country's main security and counterespionage agency, said that dual Russian-German citizen Arthur Petrov was released as part of a swap. Petrov was arrested in Cyprus in August 2023 at the request of the U.S. on charges of smuggling sensitive microelectronics to Russia and extradited to the U.S. a year later. Karelina was among a growing number of Americans arrested in Russia in recent years as tensions between Moscow and Washington spiked over the conflict in Ukraine. Her release is the latest in a series of high-profile prisoner exchanges Russia and the United States carried out in the last 3 years, and the second since President Donald Trump took office less than 3 months ago and reversed Washington's policy of isolating Russia in an effort to end the conflict in Ukraine. NATO members carried out naval drills Wednesday in the Black Sea region in one of the largest Romania-led exercises of the year, as European allies mull the long-term reliability of security guarantees from the United States under President Donald Trump. The drills in Romania, which borders Ukraine, come as European allies race to ramp up defense spending as relations with the US have strained under Trump, as he has sought closer ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin while pushing to end the war in Ukraine. The 2-week Sea Shield 25 exercises, hosted by Romania, comprise about 2,300 military personnel from 12 nations, including the US, and have been conducted at sea, on rivers, on land, underwater, and in the air. They aim to strengthen NATO's readiness against highly complex scenarios, such as coordinated maritime and aerial attacks or hybrid threats, according to Romania's naval forces. A French-made Atlantique II maritime patrol aircraft took off from Romania's eastern Mykhailo Cogalnăcianu air base Wednesday, joined by a journalist from the Associated Press, on a mission searching for drifting mines over the Black Sea waters of Romania and Bulgaria, but none were found. These drifting mines could indeed represent a potential danger to navigation, said French aircraft commander Lieutenant Tomi, whose surname was withheld by the French military. The goal of an exercise like Sea Shield is for everyone to be able to speak the same language, coordinate to respond to different types of threats, and also put in place common tactics. Earlier on Wednesday, an anti-submarine tracking exercise to detect a fictitious underwater threat was carried out and also involved multinational naval forces. It's also about showing that NATO is present on the eastern borders of Europe and is developing integration and interoperability between its member countries, Lieutenant Tomi added.